If you answer these questions, I think you're sure to find some sort of change that you can make to simplify your life, even if it's just a little bit. A little bit of simplifying absolutely never hurt anybody. Welcome back to Creatively Processed, the place for creative entrepreneurs to come together and discuss the upsides and downfalls of being your own boss. Welcome back to my living room again. I am on the other couch. I just wanted to switch it up. I haven't decided where the best place for me to film is, but we're rocking with it. Happy Friday. I hope everyone's well. Thank you to the people who entered the giveaway. I was going to announce it on Tuesday, but I'm just going to announce it on Friday because that's when the pod goes live, and I just think that's fun. Also, if you don't win the giveaway, don't worry. I'm going to have so many more, and thank you so much for your participation. I appreciate it. So how are we doing? How's the weather where you are? I'm currently filming this on Thursday. Yes, I wanted to do it on Mondays, but I'm doing it on Thursday because life is crazy. It was so nice for the last 2 weeks, I think, in Michigan. Sunny, warm. One of the days it was almost 60 degrees. I was getting my sunshine on, if you know what I'm saying. But today I wake up and I peek my head outside, and what do you know, but there is a blanket of white everywhere, which is fine, but definitely not what I wanted to wake up to. But feeling blessed to have the sunshine that we did have, because at this point in the year, it's very rare for us to have that. I'm pretty sure last February, it was just cold the whole time. But I also heard that the snow that we are getting this month is going to be crazy. Honestly, the weather doesn't really affect me because I kind of just do everything from home anyway. But when it's sunny out, the serotonin is up. The sadness is down. Life is good. Anyway, for today's podcast, we're going to do our weekly recap. We're going to talk about our goals, and then we're going to chit chat on the topic discussion, which is simplifying your life as an artist or an entrepreneur. Well, simplifying your life as a creative entrepreneur. And then to wrap up, I'm going to give you I think I only have one journal prompt today, but it has a couple of different components to it. So make sure you stay tuned for the journal prompts because I think they will help you take everything you've heard and kind of put it into action for yourself. All right. Weekly review. What happened this week? Girl, I don't know. Well, I guess last week. Last week, I did a lot of content batching. I created some new products for the shop, got those posted. I designed a tattoo for a friend who's listening. Hi, Sam. Love you so much. And I'm really excited. It's such a cute tattoo. She had a baby and she wants a tattoo in honor of her baby. And she chose me to design it. How special is that? And it's adorable. I love it. I'll probably post pictures of it when she gets it done because I'm just so excited to see how my design transfers to skin. This is the second tattoo I've designed. I didn't see the first one on the skin though. For her, I'm so excited to see how it turns out because we're actually friends in real life. So I know that I'll see it. She's not just a client, My cats are going feral over this rug. Not actually feral. Additionally, last week I had about, I want to say 6 new clients reach out, which was really exciting because that's kind of what I've been promoting recently. I do promote a lot of the products that I personally designed and my goal is to sell those, but also the most fulfilling work that I do is when I get to work with other people, and so building that client list has been a huge priority for me and it's paying off and I'm so happy about it because I just want my books to be stacked full. And, you got to be careful what you wish for, though, because I know that more client work means less time to work on my own line of items and artwork. So it's kind of a hard spot there because, I love both. I love to work on my art, but I also love to work on other people's art because collaborative work is just the best. Oh, I just love it. Okay. So that's what the work vibe was last week. Now let's get into media because I consumed some different types of media that I don't normally watch or listen to or whatever. Let's start out with music. I don't know what it is. I've been so into 2016, 2017 pop, top 100 pop. This is so not me. I don't listen to that. But when the sun is coming out and I'm getting spring energy, it just makes me think of going to the mall to shop for a prom dress because, prom is in the springtime, and the mall always has those poppy, funky songs playing. You know what I'm talking about? And so in 2016 and 2017, I was in high school. So it was like prime time music just hit. So I heard a really poppy song last week and I was like, oh, this makes me feel good. Oh, this is bringing back mall vibe. I don't really go to the mall these days. I honestly prefer the thrift store or like supporting small businesses or myself. Again, shameless self promo. I am who I am. I was also listening to some Billie Eilish last week. I used to love Billie Eilish. That was like all I listened to. But my stepdaughter was like, I've never heard Billie Eilish. And I was like, okay, well, we can listen to some of the music. And it was just fun. We have our girls' nights together where we do face masks and we have a little notebook that says secrets on it and we share our secrets. It's the most pure thing ever. And we always just have such a good time. Ugh, I love that time with her. It's so sweet. Now for the things that I watched. I watched a lot of MrBeast content. I watched a lot of his personal videos, which are obviously amazing. But I also watched a lot of podcasts where he was interviewed and was like giving all of his insight to YouTube and success on YouTube and just success as a content creator in general. Not that my goal is to be a content creator, but I have so much respect for someone like that who just works so hard and is rewarded appropriately. And I think he's only a year older than me. You think about that and you're like, dang, what am I doing with my life? But it's fine. Comparison kills creativity, so just don't even do it. I didn't let myself think too much on that. I just appreciate his work ethic. I appreciate his success. So happy for him, and I think we can all learn from him. Even if content creation isn't the goal, there's still something you can learn. In addition to MrBeast, I watched the Super Bowl. Go Chiefs. Actually, go Lions, but they were not in the Super Bowl, so I had to cheer for the Chiefs because my sister lives in Missouri and she's a huge Chiefs fan. And so if I'm not going to support my own team, I'm going to support my sister's team. Same, right? So I was pretty happy with how that turned out, winning. It was also my nephew's birthday, who also lives in Missouri, and he was obviously rooting for the Chiefs and he got his birthday wish, so that's super exciting. He actually said, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift is celebrating my birthday. How cute is that? It was his golden birthday too. February 11th, he turned 11. So sweet. The last thing that I've been watching is a show on Netflix. It's actually not a new show. It's not necessarily an old show either. It's called Atypical. If you haven't watched it, you should definitely give it a try. It's basically about this kid named Sam, and he's on the spectrum, and he's like 18, and he's kind of navigating life, all those lovely changes and experiences you go through as a young adult. And then there's his sister Casey, who's very protective of him, and you kind of get a glimpse of her life and then his parents' life, and it's just honestly such a pure show, and it's funny. Like some of the jokes in it, it's just so witty, and it just cracks me up. And the way it's produced, the feeling it gives you when you watch it, it just feels so good. I don't know, the vibe of the whole show is really relaxing and calming. There are some parts where there's like panic attacks happening, and they kind of portray that in the editing, which can give me a little bit of anxiety, but for the most part, it's a very relaxing, comfy show to watch, and I appreciate that. The last thing I want to talk about regarding media are the books I was reading last week. Well, I finished one book. I read Will They or Won't They? I do not remember who the author was. Oh, I think it was Ava Wilder. Yeah. Ava Wilder. It was a good book. It was romance, slow burn, kind of like an enemies to lovers vibe. But for the most part, it was a good book. And then I also bought the book Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I have not yet read it, but it is a well-known, well-loved book by many. It's about like quantum physics and the law of attraction. So if that interests you, check that out because it's loved by many. Last for the weekly review, let's talk about habits. I went on a lot of walks, obviously, because it was nice. Won't be walking today in this winter wonderland. I did a lot of reading, more than normal last week. Oh my gosh, Ravi. No, sorry for that. I finally got my library card last week, which I've been wanting to do for like 2 years, but I finally got it. And so I spent some time at the library, got some books, very fun. I love the library. Ours is kind of small. I was really spoiled as a kid because the library in the town that I grew up in was huge. It was like this huge barn. They basically converted a barn into a library, and it was just so nice. So many books. The library is the reason I got to watch Ugly Betty for the first time. I'm not even going to dive into Ugly Betty right now because I know I'm going to watch it again sometime in the near future, and I'll talk about it when we get there. I love that show. Aside from reading, I did drink a lot more water, which I felt so much better. If you listened last week, you know I wasn't drinking enough water. So don't worry, we have fixed that. I'm feeling 10 times better. Let's talk goals for this next week. My first goal is to update my Faire wholesale page because I have a bunch of new stickers that I made and took photos for, and they're just ready to be listed. I also need to do that with my regular website. My next goal is to keep walking and keep reading. I also want to journal more because I feel like I just haven't a whole lot in the last week or two. I journal a little bit, and honestly, a podcast I feel like is a verbal journal because I can kind of just spew it all out, but there's some stuff that I don't want to share with anyone who comes across my podcast. Like, I'd rather just put it in a notebook. I want to do that. So more journaling. That is my last goal. All right, let's get into the topic discussion. I'm so excited. I'm going to give you a little background of kind of how my business came to be, and it kind of walks through the overwhelm of having a lot of things to juggle. I think it'll give you kind of a good idea of the struggle that we all face when we're first starting out, because a lot of people start off their art businesses as like a craft business, and that's kind of what I did, but we'll get into that. So growing up, I was always like the crafty kid, like in my family and also in my school. I was just like a crafty person. So like when people wanted to do prom proposals or homecoming proposals or whatever, I would help make posters for them. I made so many posters for my friends who were in sports. Like, it was just a fun thing. And if you needed a poster made, you would always go to Carly. I could have profited off of that, and I did not. So that sucks, doesn't it? Posters were like a huge thing. I loved posters. Nothing fulfilled me more than put a bunch of words on a poster board and making it pretty. And then in my senior year, I think I was in 2 art classes my first semester of senior year, and then 3 art classes my second semester. I was just like full in. I didn't care about the other stuff. And I also was in yearbook, which is like production. You're producing a book and you have deadlines and stuff, which honestly helps me so much. The things I learned running a yearbook staff, I also use while running my own business. I'm glad to have those skills, and it was probably the most valuable class that I took in high school. That and personal finance, because things could be bad if I hadn't taken that personal finance class. So that's kind of my early on background. Now let's talk about this journey of having my business. In 2020, I met a dear friend of mine while I was working at an Applebee's, and her name is Haylie. Hi Haylie, if you're listening, love you. We had the best time in the summer of 2020. We were like always painting. We were always at each other's apartment. I remember the first time I went to her house, she showed me her room, and she had this gallery wall of all of her paintings that was like, oh my gosh, my breath was taken away. It was so pretty, and I just loved the vibe of it all, and it was very inspiring. So that was fun, and we kind of just painted as a hobby, and it just kept us busy. And you know, we talked about, oh, we could sell our art, like how awesome would it be? Haylie planted that seed inside of my head. Thank God she did. And then in 2021, I remember Haylie was like, I'm signing us up for Hippie Fest, so like make sure you have some stuff ready to sell for Hippie Fest. And I was like, oh, all right, here we go, let's do it. And so I spent pretty much the entire summer preparing for Hippie Fest. And that's kind of when I discovered jewelry making. And that was super fun because it kind of just opened a whole new world up to me. And then in addition to jewelry, I was like, oh, I'm also going to paint on canvases and just anything. Honestly, anything that I can customize and paint, I'm gonna do that. And that was my plan, okay? And then we do Hippie Fest, and it was like a huge success. Probably not the best show to start off with because my expectations were very high for a pop-up after I went there, but it was great. And so I was very confident, and then I started doing more shows, and then eventually we get to 2022 and I'm like, okay, I'm going to quit my job because why am I working a terrible job that I hate, that I literally cry when I go to, when I can make a week's worth of income at a show in one day? So that to me was all right, we're out of here. And so I quit my job, which was awesome. But then I was like, okay, now we got to like crack down. And so that's when I started really focusing on painting. And around that time, I started to find my style of very organic art, very hippie, groovy, funky, because I knew I liked that stuff, but I didn't know how to portray it in art. And eventually I figured it out and kind of adopted my style, I guess. But then I started painting on any random thing that I could find that could take the paint. So I would go to the thrift store, find like a wooden box and paint it, or I would just have so many wooden items to paint on deck, and it became very cluttered very fast. And I was like, what am I doing? Is this overwhelming for a shopper? The answer is yes. Okay, nothing looks like it goes together when you have so many random items, but also, it was overwhelming for me because how am I supposed to keep track of all that? I also had no idea how to store and take care of these items. So it was just a hot mess. As the year goes on and I'm doing these shows, my boyfriend at the time, but fiance now, said, why don't you make stickers with your art on it? And I'm like, well, I don't really know how. Like, I have an iPad, I have Procreate, but I've never made digital art, really. And if I have, it just was not very good. He's like, well, I mean, people would rather buy a small sticker for a couple bucks than a whole painting. And I was like, wait, you're so right. Hold on. So then I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn how to make stickers. And I did. It was a tough process. Not only learning how to design, but then to physically make them. Physically making them was the worst because if you've ever worked with a Cricut, it's just a no for me, dog. I mean, now it's really easy, but I cried several times trying to figure it out. Thank goodness I'm a patient Polly, but not thank goodness for the time that it took me to figure it out. So that brings us to 2023. At the beginning of 2023, I was super inspired. There were so many different jewelry pieces I wanted to make, and it was just a fun time. But eventually it was just really stressful because I'm like, okay, I have to make all of this jewelry. I have to take photos of all this jewelry. I have to put it on my website, and then I have to market it on social media. I have to do all of the things. I'm going to wear all of the hats, right? And it's just overwhelming. It just gets to be too much because when I made jewelry, I would pump out 50 jewelry pieces in one day because I would just be hyperfixated on it and go. That inventory bulks up so fast, and it can be a lot to handle. And the overwhelm came early on last year. Then I go to this coffee meeting with my dear friend Kate, whomst I love. If you don't know who Kate is, she owns Stoke Design Company. I have so much respect for her. I've learned so much from her. It's just been an amazing journey. We became instant friends. I just love her. I value her advice a lot. So we're at this coffee meeting in this cute little coffee shop. We had such a good time. I'm talking to her about making t-shirts because at this point I've been doing stickers for a really long time. People love the artwork, but you know what people love more than stickers? Clothing. And so I'm like, okay, how do I do this? How do you do this? Walk me through it. And she introduced me to print on demand sites. That kind of opens up a whole new world for me. I start making t-shirts and tote bags and sweatshirts. And so all of a sudden I have this new tool where I can design clothing and other items. This third party will take care of the orders for me and everyone can have my art in different forms. Amazing. So then I get this idea, oh, what if I start designing merch for other people? What if I start taking on clients? Before then, the only client work I ever did was custom jewelry pieces or custom paintings, which at that point I'm like, I'm not going to paint anymore if I'm going to make stickers and digital art. So then that brings me to meeting Haylie Powell, and we designed the Mind, Body, and Soul merch together, and it was very successful. And I was like, oh my gosh, wait, people want my art and they want to wear it on their bodies. How cool is that? Throughout the rest of 2023, I'm getting all this recognition and positive praise for this art that I've designed. At the same time, my jewelry sales are slowing down. And at the same time, I am completely uninspired by jewelry making. The repetition is getting to be too much. I don't want to do it anymore. I feel very limited. I feel like I can't do as much creatively with jewelry because I'm not making the charms myself. Like, I'm getting charms from other people. So then I wasn't as proud of the work because I'm like, is this even mine? Because I feel like anybody can make this. Started to get a little bit frustrating. Like I said, I was just uninspired, not proud of the work. And so I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to do jewelry anymore. I'm good on this. So I stopped making jewelry. That brings us to 2024. Here we are. I'm not making jewelry anymore. Instead, focusing full force on graphic design. I'm so much more productive. I get to work with more people because I don't have to juggle jewelry and my own art and other people's art. Now it's just art all the time. And I have more time to market. I have more time to do things like this, make a podcast. Hello. If I was making jewelry, this would not be happening. So it's definitely just opened up a whole new world to me, and it's so fun. Not knocking on anybody who makes jewelry, because it is an incredible skill to have, to be a jeweler. I just had too much going on in my brain because I loved art and drawing even more than I loved making jewelry. So it was kind of a no-brainer. So that's my background. Let's get into some guidance suggestions that I have for you if you're looking to simplify your life as an artist and a business owner. The first thing that I suggest you do is take an emotional capacity inventory. What the heck is that? I don't know. I made it up, okay? I have a list of questions that I want you to ask yourself because they will help you decide where to go. The first question is, what in my business or in my art skill set fulfills me the most? And at this point, if you're listening, I'm assuming that you want to make some sort of a change. So the next question is, why do I want to make a change? Are we looking to relieve stress? Are we looking to have a change for the heck of it? Like, what's the point? Why do you want to make a change? The next question is, how can I add more value to my life by making this change? The next question is, who am I doing this for? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for your audience? Who the heck is this for? Next, we have, what is my plan? What are the steps that I need to take? And lastly, what is my timeline? How quick are we trying to make this happen? For me, it was kind of an overnight thing. The second I said out loud, I think I'm gonna do graphic design full time, there was no changing my mind after that. It was over. I did not pick up a pair of pliers after that, because I was just done. I said, yeah, no, that's a great idea. You should stop making jewelry. And so I did. And that was that. But I'm kind of a extreme person, so I don't know if everybody can relate to that. Now, going forward, let's go through these little tidbits of advice I have for you. The first thing is to niche down if you haven't already. Once you find your niche, it's a lot easier to market, and it's a lot easier to find your audience because you know exactly who to target your marketing towards as far as hashtags and SEO goes. So define your niche and decide what in your business adds the most value to the people in your niche. For me, I was like, okay, I feel like clothing will add more value because with jewelry, people can be so picky, which is fine. You know what you like. And also a lot of people have very, very sensitive skin, which makes jewelry a lot harder to sell because some people will not even ask about the quality. People think, oh, craft show jewelry, my skin is going to hate me if I wear this, So from there, when you figure out what's going to add the most value to your audience, you can then pick a medium that you're going to stick with, okay? You want to pick something that allows you to have creative freedom to do things that fulfill you in a creative sense, but you also want to choose something that you won't get bored of. You want to make sure it's something that you can use to scale your business. Now, figure out whatever that means to you, but by scale your business, I just mean it gives you the ability to grow and flourish and not stay in a box of this is what I can do. For me, making shirts, it's a repetitive thing. I can print it as many times as I want. So it's easier to scale my business with that because those designs can sell forever. And then I can also create forever and have more designs that can sell forever. So I can recreate those items and sell them a bunch of times, and it's not just one pair of earrings that I can sell one time. You know what I mean? So those are my tidbits. I know that was kind of short and sweet and to the point, but I wanted to be concise this week. I didn't want to babble on forever. So let's go over the journal. And I just looked at my notes. I have 3 journal prompts for you. It's not just one. I must have edited that after I originally wrote what the journal prompt was. The first journal prompt of the week is, what part of my business brings me the most value emotionally, financially, and physically? The next journal prompt is, who am I doing this for? And the last journal prompt is, what is my next move for my business that will reduce stress, increase sales, and help me find balance? If you answer these questions, I think you're sure to find some sort of change that you can make to simplify your life, even if it's just a little bit. A little bit of simplifying absolutely never hurt anybody. So as a recap, take your emotional inventory, ask yourself those questions, do the journal prompt, and you will be set up for success. I fully believe that. And if you find success in this, please let me know, because I love to hear everybody's stories and how they can apply my advice to their lives. That is all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't already, check out the socials. I've got TikTok and Instagram. Follow the podcast wherever you're listening. As always, my DMs are always open. If you want to reach out, we can chit chat and let me know if you have any talking points you'd like me to hit, because I would love to talk about them. I will see you next week.